When is a parent done being a parent? For Diane Danvers Simmons, the answer is age 16. That's when her mother left and moved in with college students. Diane is sharing her story in her new book, My Mother Next Door. And today she joins us live. Diane, thank you so much for joining our show and just being so open and real with us. We appreciate you. So walk us through what happened. How did your mom leave?
Well, first of all, thank you. And listening to what you've been talking about, this segment is so perfect for my book. A week after my 16th birthday, I arrived home from school, normal mother in Atlanta, when my 60-year-old Irish Catholic mother announced to me over a cup of tea that she was done and she was going to leave the next day and move to the house she'd gone and bought directly next door. Now, I clearly didn't believe her in that moment. But the next day, we all had Saturday jobs. So the next day on the Saturday, I get home from school, deathly silence, no note, no number, nothing. And it hits me. She's gone and done it. So she basically moved next door to start a whole new life with, as I say, these bunch of hot college students that she'd been renting her house out to. But not only did she do that, I went, obviously, to find out, have you really left, Mum? She hadn't told my father. So that night, when my dad came home from work, I had to be the bearer of her lunacy. I had to tell him.
As a mother, my heart is breaking for you to have endured that. Did you ever find out what her exact reason was for leaving? Did she tell you why she was done?
Yeah, my mother was a brutally honest person. And in her mind, and I remember these words so well, she said to me, I've given you and your father 16 years of my life and I'm done. And, she wanted her independence back. And to her, these were her endearing words. And I write about this in a very English way with English and Irish humor, because she said to me, you're big and ugly enough to take care of yourself and your dad and your dog. Because she had left Ireland at age 16. Wow. So in her mind,
just like Erica
it was
said.
okay.
Yep. Right.
Wow. Yep. And so that's this story, you talk about unpacking why our parents do the things they do. That's why I wrote this story.
Wow. Because
until you delve deep, until you are willing to really try and get to the root cause of people's behavior, you'll never know.
Generational trauma. Wow, this episode is crazy connected. I wanted to just...
It is. Right? The synergy here is incredible.
And people are writing in. Someone said, I'd never watched the show before. Thank you for talking about real items and issues. I do have to ask you, paint the picture of what it was like when you went over to your mom's new house. Like, was she partying? Was she a different person? And how did your relationship change?
It definitely changed. It was surreal. It was, it was like I was kind of hovering, observing this new world that my AKA mother, this new woman, was living in. The tension had eased. And even though she was still very opinionated, strong-minded, I didn't have to deal with this conflict 24/7 between her and my father, all the siblings, the blended family, and everything else. And I saw this transformation in her. It's like she lit up. And I kind of describe her as this, Irish vaudeville kind of act where I was enjoying the frivolity of this new woman.
Wow.
She wasn't just my mother anymore.
She was just new.
But, yeah, she was new. But let's be honest, I also had the added attraction of these college students to go and see. So that kind of added a little bit of levity to the whole situation. But it was, I think about it now. I have daughters, sons. It was bizarre. It was like she'd abandoned me, albeit next door. So I kind of had this, feeling of it was convenient, a blessing and a curse, because it was convenient. Remember, she was Irish, so a blessing or a curse was always part of her language. But I had no choice to roll with it. I'd grown up with this character, this different kind of magical woman on one hand, but volatile on another. And this new life seemed to fit her because it was very much, if you think about this, the convenience of having her next door.
Sure.
But the inconvenience and pain of witnessing this, having it slapped in my face every single day, that she was now taking care of a bunch of young guys.
So, Diane, do you consider her, when you characterize it, do you characterize it as her being a bad mother?
It's interesting. A lot of people have asked me this question. And no.
Wow.
She wasn't a bad mother for leaving. She was a bad mother for the way she did it.
Wow.
Well,
Because she left me to carry her burden and be her vocal piece, so to speak. I was the go-between between this big, crazy blended family.
Well, that was a lot of weight.
I had to tell my father.
That was just so much weight to put on you. So I had to ask you before we wrap, do you forgive your mother? Because I could understand either way.
Yes, I do, because I never actually remember blaming her. Her story, her personality are both complex, and I go back into her background so you can understand. And I came to understand why she did the things she did. But, I don't write this as a story of sadness. I write it as it celebrates the human spirit. The fact that we need to open up more. We need to take the time to understand who our mothers were, who they are now, and maybe what their dreams are in the future.
Wow.
So
And
many
how that
layers.
impacts us.
Wow.
So many
Layer
layers.
upon layer.
Yep, we got to read your book. In fact, DBL Nation, to learn more about Diane and her mother's story, please visit the website, Mothers and Daughters, unfiltered.com. You can also purchase her book, My Mother Next Door. It's anywhere books are sold.
Wow.
You are a remarkable woman. Thank you so much for joining us
Absolutely.
today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Diane.
you so much.
Thank you, Diane.
I really appreciate it.